Hi everyone, welcome back to another video of SQL series. In this video, we're going to understand the very basic and the important terms of SQL. That is, in this video, we're going to understand the use of select statement and the use of where clause. As part of select and where clause in SQL, we're going to cover following 3 points here. That means first we'll understand what is the use of select statement with the help of this below 3 scenarios. Secondly, we'll understand what is the use of where clause. And third, we'll see where clause with the like in SQL. What is the use of like in where? All these things we're going to cover as part of this video. Let's get started with the select statement first. Let's take an example of X company. That X company has some manager, okay? And if that manager wants to fetch the specific information about the employees that is present inside the X company, suppose that manager wants to fetch the name and phone number, etc. of that company, that employees of the company, then how will going to fetch? Okay. The first step, he has to connect to the database, because we know that all the data that is of the employees is present inside the database. Okay, first he will connect to the database. Then secondly, he will going to execute the select statement there. Okay, with the help of select statement, he will get the required information about the employees. So we have understood how this select statement work in real world example. Now we'll see what is the definition of select statement. So select statement allows user to fetch the data from the database tables. Okay, we'll see different scenarios to understand to get the better understanding of the select statement. So first scenario is all data retrieval from the table. The select statement allows user to retrieve all the data from table stored within a database. Let's take an example of student table, and here we can see there are 3 columns. The student table contains 3 columns, contains 2 rows of data. Okay, so if you want to fetch all the data that is present inside this table, then how we will do? With the help of select statement, we will get the required data. That means all the data we can fetch with the help of select statement. Okay, so syntax for the same is select star from the table. The star, that means asterisk symbol, indicates all column of the table. When we want to fetch all the columns of data, that time we mention this star, that means asterisk symbol here. Okay, and in terms of our example, that is student table, we just mention here select all from students. Execute this query inside the SQL developer and see what result will come out. So we'll go to the SQL developer. So here we are using Oracle database, and we are using Oracle SQL developer here, okay, to execute these queries. So if you run this first query, and as you can see here, 3 rows, 3 columns and 2 rows of data has already fetched with the help of this query, that is select star from students. Now move on to the second scenario and understand selection of data from the specific column. Select statement can be used to retrieve data from the specific column. Okay, we'll take the same example to understand the same. Okay, suppose in this student table we have 3 columns, and out of these 3 columns we want the data to be fetched only for the 2 columns, that means roll number and first name. So this we can do with the help of select statement. So syntax for the same is select column 1, column 2 from the table name. That means this column 1 and column 2 indicates the columns that from that the data we want to fetch. Okay, so in case of our example, this column 1 and column 2 is roll number and first name. So let's execute this query inside the SQL developer, and we'll see how the result will come out. Okay, select roll number, first name from the students. As you can see here, the result is roll number and first name is already fetched out of this query. Okay, so this is how we have understood the second scenario. Now move on to the third scenario and understand what is the use of distinct keyword. Okay, the distinct keyword in select query is used to eliminate the duplicate rows from the result set. The times when we want to fetch the unique records out of the table, that time we can make use of this distinct. Okay, the syntax is similar to the previous query, only the difference is here. Before mentioning the specific columns, we have to mention the distinct here, so that we are saying that we want the distinct records out of that particular columns. Okay, so as part of our query, we can see that select distinct first name last name from the student. That means we are saying that fetch all distinct records from first name and last name columns of the table. Okay, so we'll execute this query inside the SQL developer, and we'll see how it will work. So before executing this query, we have to insert some duplicate records here. Okay, so first we'll insert some of the duplicate records here. Okay, so we'll execute this insert statement, we commit here, we'll execute this second insert statement, we'll commit here. Okay, and now if you run this query, that means the select star, that means we are saying that fetch all the data of the table to see what are the duplicate records. As you can see here, the first name and last name. That means these two records are duplicate. And after running this distinct query, we should be getting only 3 rows. That means only unique records. So after running, you can see Creo Mag that we have inserted as a duplicate records only came as a one result. That means one row. That means duplicate records already avoided here. So that's how this distinct keyword is works here, and this is very useful in your day-to-day life of the SQL query execution. Okay. So we have understood what is the use of select statement, how we can make use of the different scenarios to execute the select statement. Now we'll understand the use of where clause. Okay. So the where clause in SQL is used to filter records based on the specific conditions. That means it allows you to retrieve only the rows that meet the specified criteria. That means whatever the criteria or whatever the conditions that we will going to mention inside the select statement, the data will going to fetch accordingly. Okay, let's take an example and understand this. The syntax is select first name last name from the classroom. Okay, here we have directly taken the classroom as a one table. Okay, and we are saying that out of the classroom fetch the first name and the last name of the students whose age is less than 21. That means this where age less than 21 is the condition that we are providing. That means we want the data from the classroom table of the students whose age is less than 21. So first we'll see in the SQL Developer what is the data that classroom table contains. Okay, if we go to back to the SQL Developer and we'll execute this, we can see here there are 4 records present inside here and there are 4 columns here. Okay, so 4 records having different ages, 20, 22, 19 and 23. So if we execute this query, we should be getting the result of 19 and 20 because it is less than 21. Okay, first we'll execute this and we'll pin this, and after execution we can see only John and Barry result is came out, and we'll just verify here John and Barry. Okay, because these students having the age less than 21. So this is how this where statement works. So we have understood what is the use of and how we can make use of the where clause inside the select statement. Now we'll understand where clause with like. So what is the use of like? So the like operator is used in where clause to search for a specified pattern in a column. Example, suppose we want to retrieve the name of the employees whose name starts with the J. Okay, this is something the query I have mentioned here, and I have considered the employees table. So I'll just show you what is the data this employee table contains. Okay, so if I run this query, you can see the 4 records this employee table contains. Okay, and if I consider the first scenario where I have mentioned find the name that starts with the J, that means find all the names that starts with the J as a character. Okay, that means J starts for these two rows. That means here the J starts for these 2 rows. That means John Glenn and Jack Smith. We'll just execute this query and we'll see if we will get the same result. Yes, correct. So we got the same result, that is John and Glenn, because the name of John and Jack starts with the J. That's where the result is fetched for the 2 rows only. Okay, let's understand the second scenario, and this second scenario is talking about the ending part. Okay, so find the name that ends with the myth. That means myth word we want at the last. Okay, let's go to the SQL Developer and see here. We have written the query here. Okay, this query says that find names that ends with the myth. So we will just execute this query and we'll see Jack Smith. This is the only one record out of those 4 records which contains the myth at the end. That's why this result came out as part of this result set. Okay, now let's go to the third scenario and understand. So as part of third scenario, we'll see then we have to find the names that contains Jack as a word. That means find Jack anywhere that is present inside the name string. Okay, let's go to the SQL Developer and see how it will work. So as here I have mentioned, find names that contains Jack. Okay, so if we run this, find names that contains Jack, and we will get the record that contains Jack anywhere inside the string. That means Jack is came here and Jack is came here, because as part of Jackson, Jack is present there. Okay, and as part of name, Jack is present in the first row as well. So this is how all the scenarios will work. We have understood what is the use of select statement, what is the use of where clause, and how we can make use of the like inside the where clause. Thanks for watching this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Okay, see you in the next video.